Hello and a huge warm welcome to Tune in English. I'm your host, Adam, and I am so excited to introduce our guest today, the wonderful Amy. Hi, Amy. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi, Adam. Thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Today, we're tackling a question so many of you ask. How do I start thinking in English? We know it's the secret to speaking fluently.
Absolutely. We'll share some easy daily habits and have a native style chat. We'll even unpack a few useful idioms later, so stay until the end.
And a quick tip, try repeating after us to practice your shadowing skills. If you find this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more.
Let's jump right into it, shall we?
Welcome back to Tune in English. Amy, today's topic is a big one. How do we start thinking in English?
It is a huge challenge for so many learners, Adam. That constant translation in your head, it's exhausting.
It really is. You hear a question and your brain goes into panic mode. First, you understand the words, then you formulate an answer in your native language. After that, you translate it into English. Finally, you speak. It's a long process.
Exactly. By that time, the conversation has moved on. You feel stuck. It can be so frustrating. I remember feeling that way.
Me too. It feels like you're always one step behind in every chat. Your mind is just too busy working. You can't be present.
Right. And the goal is to make English feel automatic. We want to break down that mental barrier. But how do we even start?
Well, I think the first step is changing our mindset. We must accept mistakes. Your inner critic can be your worst enemy here.
Oh, I totally agree. That little voice telling you you're wrong, you have to tell it to be quiet. Perfectionism is the enemy of progress.
It really is. So for our listeners, the first step is to be kinder to yourself. Give yourself permission to make errors. It is all part of the process. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It's about building a new habit, and habits start small. You cannot run before you can walk. We need simple tricks.
Simple is key. So maybe we can talk about some of those easy starter methods?
I think that's a perfect place to start. Let's get the ball rolling with some basic exercises. Everyone can try these today.
Wonderful. Let's dive into some practical tips to quiet the translator in your brain.
Okay, everyone, welcome to the phrases walkthrough. Now, let's take a closer look at those useful idioms from our first section, the struggle to stop translating. We'll explain what they mean and how we use them. Phrase 1, moved on. This means the conversation or situation has progressed or changed to a new topic. From our chat, by that time, the conversation has moved on. You feel stuck. Phrase 2, one step behind. To be slower than everyone else, or to not be as advanced or informed as others. As we said, it feels like you're always one step behind in every chat. Phrase 3, break down that mental barrier. To overcome a problem or fear that exists in your mind. As Amy talked about this, we want to break down that mental barrier. Phrase 4, tell it to be quiet. To consciously try to stop a negative thought or feeling. Like when Amy said, that little voice telling you you're wrong, you have to tell it to be quiet. Phrase 5, run before you can walk. To try to do something advanced before you have learned the basic skills. As I mentioned, you cannot run before you can walk. We need simple tricks. Phrase 6, get the ball rolling. To start something. To begin a process. As Amy suggested, let's get the ball rolling with some basic exercises. So, Amy, we agreed we need to start small. What is the absolute easiest first step someone can take?
Okay, the easiest thing is right under your nose. It is called self-talk. Just describe your actions in English inside your head.
Oh, I love this one. So if you're making coffee, you think, I am pouring the water. Now I am pressing the button. It sounds silly, but it works.
It does. It connects simple English directly to your actions. There is no translation needed. You are just killing two birds with one stone. You live your life and you practice.
That is a fantastic point.
Another easy method is naming. Look around the room right now. Can you name 5 things you see? In English, of course.
Exactly. Lamp, window, speaker, notebook, phone. It forces your brain to grab the English word first. It builds a faster connection.
And you can do this anywhere, on the bus, in a shop. It's like a secret game. But what about when you cannot find a word? That is a common fear.
That is a great question. Do not stop. Do not switch languages. Use simple words to describe it. If you forget bookshelf, think the big wooden thing for books.
Yes, that is so important. You are training yourself to think around a problem in English. This is a key fluency skill. It's better than giving up the ghost in translating.
Absolutely. Another tip is to set your phone to English. It immerses you in the language every day. You will learn tech vocabulary without even trying.
That is a powerful one. It becomes second nature. Now, these are all solo activities, but we learn language for communication. How do we take the next step?
The next step is to find a partner, but it does not have to be a formal teacher. You can break the ice with a conversation buddy online. Just chat about simple things.
I think that is where many learners get nervous. The pressure of a real conversation. How can they make it less scary?
The trick is to prepare a little. Think about what you might talk about. Maybe you will touch on your hobby or what you watched on TV. Pre-think some of that vocabulary.
So you're basically doing your self-talk, but for a future conversation. You're pre-producing the English. That is brilliant. It builds confidence.
Exactly. You are not going in cold. You have already practiced the English for that topic in your head. It makes the real chat much smoother.
These are all amazing, practical habits. They're little things that make a big difference over time. It's about consistency, not perfection.
100%. Small steps every day will help you get the hang of it. You will slowly stop translating without even realizing it.
It's like building a muscle. It takes time and regular exercise, but the results are worth it. You start to feel free in conversations.
You really do. It's a wonderful feeling when you first realize you just thought a complete sentence in English.
Okay, so we have the starter habits, but what about when you're ready to level up? How do you start thinking in more complex ways?
That is the perfect question for our next section. We should talk about engaging your imagination next.
Now let's move on to the phrases from our second section, training your brain with simple daily habits. Phrase 1, right under your nose, meaning in a place that is very obvious and easy to find, though you might not have noticed it. Amy said, the easiest thing is right under your nose. It is called self-talk. Phrase 2, killing 2 birds with 1 stone, meaning to achieve 2 different things with a single action. As Amy explained, you are just killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You live your life and you practice. Phrase 3, giving up the ghost, meaning to stop trying, to quit, or admit defeat. I mentioned this. It is better than giving up the ghost and translating. Phrase 4, break the ice, meaning to do or say something to make people feel more relaxed in a social situation. Like when Amy said, you can break the ice with a conversation buddy online. Phrase 5, touch on, meaning to mention or discuss a subject briefly. Amy suggested, maybe you will touch on your hobby or what you watched on TV. Phrase 6, get the hang of it, meaning to learn how to do something properly, to become skilled at it. As Amy said encouragingly, small steps every day will help you get the hang of it. So Amy, we have the daily habits down. Now, how do we go from I see a lamp to more complex, fluid thinking?
This is the fun part, Adam. It is time to engage your imagination. This is where you truly take your English to the next level. A great way is to tell yourself a story in your head.
A story? Tell me more. What does that look like?
Okay, imagine you are people watching. You see someone running for the bus. Instead of just noting it, create a story. That woman is in a hurry. Maybe she is late for a very important meeting. She is a famous scientist presenting her discovery. You are building narratives.
I love that. You are not just naming things, you are creating context and using more grammar. You're making it engaging for your brain. It stops being study and starts being play.
Exactly. Your brain loves stories. It remembers them better. Another method is to plan your day in English, but in detail. Don't just think, meeting at 10. Think, I need to get my point across clearly in the meeting. I hope my boss gives me the green light for my project idea.
That is brilliant. You are practicing the specific language you will need later. It's like prepping for a game. This makes you so much more confident. What about listening? How does that help our thinking?
Immersive listening is key. Listen to a podcast like this one or a song, then try to summarize it in your head on the fly. Okay, so Adam and Amy said thinking in English takes practice. This forces you to process and reproduce ideas.
And that is a huge cognitive step up. You are working with concepts, not just words. It connects your listening and thinking skills directly. Now, I have a question for you. Do you ever still translate sometimes?
Of course, absolutely. Especially when I'm tired or stressed. The goal is not to eliminate translation completely. That is mission impossible. The goal is to make English your first option, not your last resort. It's about building a new, stronger habit.
That is such a relief to hear. It is not about perfection, it is about progress. So let's recap the key takeaways for our listeners. Step 1 was
stopping the internal translator. Be kind to yourself. Let mistakes happen.
Step 2 was daily habits, self-talk, naming things, and setting your phone to English.
And step 3 is this: engage your imagination. Tell stories, plan your day in detail, and summarize what you hear.
It is a journey from simple words to complex ideas, and every little bit of practice counts. It all adds up over time.
It really does. One day, you will have a light bulb moment. You will realize you just had a whole thought in English without trying. It's the best feeling.
It is the moment you truly start to feel fluent. Thank you so much, Amy, for sharing all these amazing tips today.
It was my pleasure, Adam. Thank you for having me.
And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. If these tips helped you, please do us a huge favor. Hit the like button and subscribe to Tune in English for more content like this.
And let us know in the comments which tip you will try first. We love reading your stories. Keep practicing and remember to be patient with yourselves.
Until next time, keep tuning in and leveling up. And finally, let's look at the phrases from our last section, engaging your imagination and tying it all together. Phrase 1, take your English to the next level. Meaning, to improve significantly, to move to a higher stage of ability. Example, Amy introduced this idea. This is where you truly take your English to the next level. Phrase 2, get my point across. Meaning, to successfully explain your idea or opinion so others understand it. Example from my example, I need to get my point across clearly in the meeting. Phrase 3, gives me the green light. Meaning, to give permission for someone to start something. Also from my example, I hope my boss gives me the green light for my project idea. Phrase 4, on the fly. Meaning, to do something quickly and spontaneously without preparation. As Amy suggested, try to summarize it in your head on the fly. Phrase 5, mission impossible. Meaning, a task that is very difficult or seems unable to be done. Example, Amy used this to be realistic. The goal is not to eliminate translation completely. That is mission impossible. Phrase 6, recap the key takeaways. Meaning, to briefly summarize the most important points. Example, I suggested this. So let's recap the key takeaways for our listeners. Phrase 7, light bulb moment. Meaning, a sudden moment of understanding or a brilliant idea. Amy described this wonderful feeling. One day, you will have a light bulb moment. We really hope you feel motivated to try these tips and use these new phrases.
Yes, practice is the key to making it stick. And remember, you can download this entire conversation and all the examples as a free PDF in the description below. It's our gift to help you study. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Tune in English for more. And tell us in the comments, which phrase did you like best? We read every single one.
New videos come out every week to help you on your journey.
Keep learning, keep practicing. We believe in you.
See you in the next video.